So here's one that I wanted to talk about for a few weeks now. I wasn't going to bother, I was going to just leave it as one of those that didn't really mean a great deal to me personally, which is what the whole purpose of this exercise is, to explore the records that have meant something to me over the years. But the more I thought about it and I gave it another listen, I realised that actually this did have quite an influence on me, and I was very impressed with it when it first came out. And that is Living Colour, Vivid from 1988. Now this came as a surprise to me because I was convinced that I didn't really like any sort of black music whatsoever. For those of you who don't know, Living Colour were an all-black from New York metal stroke heavy rock band. This was their debut album, and very good it is too. There's a lot of great riffs on here, a lot of fantastic singing. The two main protagonists were Vernon Reid, the Riffmeister, and Corey Glover, the vocalist. And what a vocalist. I mean, wow. The songs on here, you kind of expect it to be a very American in its lyrical content and its feel and flavour, and that is indeed true. It really is. It really is that. When it first came out, it was hailed as a fantastic record by all that reviewed it, pretty much. They said it was a refreshing change to have this band on the rock music landscape, as it were. It won Grammys. Well, some of the songs did. It did very well in the charts. It sold 2 million copies in America. Went to number 6 on the American chart. So it did very well. There's not a huge amount of things I can say about it, except I really enjoyed it at the time. What I didn't enjoy was the next thing that came after it. The next records to me seemed a little bit limp-wristed. I wanted something more, just a little bit heavier, a little bit more challenging. And I think they kind of sold out because they got a lot of success very early. And I think, to me, possibly it went to their heads. And they kind of sold out. I know for a fact that Mick Jagger, of all people, was partly responsible for this band's success, or at least he backed them in a way which many other artists wouldn't get the same kind of support. So they had a lot going for them. If you've heard it, you'll know what I'm talking about. It came out on Epic Records, as I say, 1988. It did really well, and they deserved that limited success. So, as far as critics go, what did they actually say about it? Well, it's been quite influential over the years in some of the various artists who've respected it. I mean, Kerrang! They supported it, but they kind of slagged it a little bit. They said in places it sounded a bit like Megadeth. Well, that's just silly, because it doesn't. It came out as the same year as Megadeth were massive in the late 80s. So it had 1980s production techniques. What do you expect? It was the 1980s. It was produced by Ed Stasium and partly by Mick Jagger. And you can clearly hear the Mick Jagger influence. If you know any of Mick Jagger's solo work, or anything that the Stones were doing in the late 80s, then you can hear that Jagger influence on there. So that's more about the Jagger support for the band. It doesn't sound like Megadeth. So if you haven't heard Vivid by Living Colour, then you should do. If you like your hard rock, you like your American rock, you like black music in general, where it's rap, soul, crossover, whatever you want to call it. In places this is a bit kind of crossover, but it's before that whole crossover thing really came into its own. something that I never embraced. In places it does remind me of The Who. Don't know why, but it does. So, if you haven't heard it, you should give it a listen. See what you think. Because I think you'll like it. Again, if you like your black music and you like your rock, you like what Aerosmith were doing with Run DMC at the time, whenever that was, not that long before or after, I think it was after. If you like all that, then I think you're going to like Vivid by Living Colour. So that is my little input all about Living Colour, Vivid from 1988.